What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and here we are right at the start, fresh of 2018, and I decided I would take a look at all of our current generation consoles, or can you really call them current, because one of them is actually 9th gen, and the other two are actually 8th generation, but these are the three current consoles, and we're going to take a look at them, and we're going to see what each one individually has to offer us. And based on the pros and cons of these videos, you'll be able to decide if you should buy one, or if it's for you or not. And real quick, just before we get any further into it, every price and date I'm going off in this video is based on European stuff. There might be some differences based on price or availability or release date in your region, but I'm currently going off everything as it was released in Europe and the current prices here in Ireland at the moment. So first up, we're going to look at Microsoft's offering, the Xbox One, the 8th generation console, the third console from Microsoft. Released in the wake of the Xbox 360 and its runaway success, Microsoft were looking to make the Xbox One the improvement that everyone wanted. They wanted a generation leap in visuals and performance, as well as wanted to make it your one-stop shop, your one-stop box for all your media and home needs, be it cable TV, films, streaming services, apps, and games. Hence the name Xbox One. However, because of that, Microsoft kind of shot themselves in the foot. Originally they included an upgraded version of Kinect 2.0, because they wanted to kind of factor it in as a whole easy to control, family control, not just a games console type of experience. After all, if you want to turn on your Xbox One to watch TV or watch Netflix or a movie, why use a controller for that when you can just use your voice or your hand? At least that was Microsoft's theory behind it. However, because of that, the additional production cost and development of the Kinect units actually drove the price up higher of the Xbox One at launch. And in order to keep the console development costs themselves down, they actually had to opt for cheaper hardware and less powerful hardware. So by comparison, released here in Europe on the 22nd of November 2013, the Xbox One was the second console in the 8th generation. The first one being the Wii U, but we're not going to talk about that. So something that became immediately apparent after the announcement of the Xbox One and all the way up to launch, and something that hasn't truly been rectified to this day, is the console's performance. Like I mentioned, they did have to opt to use less powerful and therefore cheaper hardware in order to keep the price down, at least at launch, and that resulted in lesser performance and inferior performance and visuals in every multi-platform game. Now this isn't a huge deal to a lot of people. Granted, I've talked about it in length over the years at this point, but I'm pretty much an exception to the rule. Your average consumer isn't even going to know what the difference is, let alone notice it. But at the end of the day, it's much easier to say to someone, hey, this console plays it in 1080p, whereas this console plays it in 720p. And your average consumer is just going to think, oh, I have a 1080p TV, and just buy it for that. So as Microsoft over the years of release since Xbox One have basically been trying to play catch up and come up with all sorts of incentives and reason to buy Xbox One, it has led to a couple of extra benefits in a sense. So what does Xbox One offer you, the consumer, or just any general random consumer? Now remember guys, this video, if you're watching this, it's not for people like me who are enthusiasts, who buy everything, who have high-end computers, and are a fanboy of no particular system. This is my opinion on what the average person should take into consideration if they're going to consider buy one of these consoles. Let's face it, not everyone has a shitload of money to buy a PlayStation 4, an Xbox One, a Nintendo Switch, and a PC. Some people just want to get one unit and go from there. So what does Xbox One offer your general average consumer? As expected from a console, you will get all the large AAA multi-platform third-party support from your big companies with the likes of EA, Activision, Warner Brothers, Bethesda, etc. So you can rest assured you're going to see your Assassin's Creed every year, your Battlefield every year, your Call of Duty every year, your FIFA, your Madden, etc, etc. You get things like Xbox Game Pass, which is a Netflix-style subscription service that costs €10 a month and has over 100 games attached to it. You can download and play these games as long as you remember. Similar to Netflix, as long as you keep the subscription, you can keep playing the games. Granted, just like Netflix, some of these games are removed and new ones added and updated every month, so be sure to keep an eye on that. There's also another subscription style service available from EA called EA Access, which gives you access to the EA Vault. Similar to the Xbox Game Pass, as long as you're a subscribed member, you can download and play select EA games, all of which are added to the EA Vault. Microsoft also offers a service called Games with Gold. If you have an Xbox Live Gold subscription, which we'll get to now in a minute, every month you get 4, and I use the term loosely here, quote, free, unquote, games that you get to download and play as long as you keep the Xbox One Gold subscription. Now, what is the Xbox Live Gold subscription? Well, it is a subscription service that costs €60 a year, and the main crux of paying for this service is that it allows you to play multiplayer games online. That's right, if you want to play FIFA, Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War, Forza, Battlefield, whatever, if you want to play those games online on Xbox One, you need to pay for this service. It may seem like a bit steep, and I'm not fully in agreement with paying for online subscription services, but having said all that, of the 3 platforms we're going to look at in these 3 videos, the Xbox Live service is by far the best quality of the services. It also offers the best quality voice chat across any of the 3 services, and is arguably the easiest to use in that regard. It also factors in with the Games with Gold that we just talked about a moment ago. Another big benefit of the Xbox One platform that they've improved severely over the last couple of years that definitely works into consideration after the massive amount of sales and game sales that the Xbox 360 had is backwards compatibility. With over 400 games of backwards compatible titles from not just Xbox 360 but original OG Xbox games as well. Many of them can be played on your current Xbox One system, some of which are even slightly improved and enhanced. And the best thing about it as well is if you still own a digital copy of these games, or even a physical copy, that's right, a disc-based copy of these games, you can put it into your Xbox One and it will allow you to play it for no additional cost. Definitely something to consider when you look at the games with massive amounts of players and people who love them, like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Red Dead Redemption and GTA 4, just to name but a few. However, that's where all the positives kind of start to fall off and we start to hit the negatives and what Xbox One can offer you. As I mentioned earlier, that you are generally guaranteed large AAA third-party support from the major publishers. However, where it starts to get a bit patchy is when you move away from their large tentpole franchise. When you move away from the likes of Destiny, Call of Duty, Battlefield, etc., you start to see huge disparity in games that are actually going to be released on Xbox One. While Xbox One does get a number of the, I won't go as far as to call them niche or obscure titles, but we'll call them not strictly AAA titles. Xbox One does get an amount of them, but it by no means gets the largest amount of them. And on top of that as well, every console needs both strong first and third party support, which is another area where Microsoft are starting to fall flat in. First party support on Microsoft consoles has been pretty sparse since 2015, and here we are at the very start of 2018, and it doesn't look to improve anytime soon. In fact, the last true Xbox One first party exclusive game released on the Xbox One was Halo 5 back at the end of 2015. Ever since then, all the Xbox exclusive games, or the first party games as we should call them, have also released on PC. Gears of War 4, Forza, Quantum Break, Cuphead. A lot of these are games touted as Microsoft or Xbox games, yet many of them, in fact all of the ones I've just listed, are available on PC. Now let's look at price of everything that we've mentioned so far. Currently, the standard base model of the Xbox One is the Xbox One S. It's the first revision, it's a slimline model, and it's been improved over the original base model by adding a 4K Blu-ray drive and HDR support. Now, it's important to note that while it does add 4K Blu-ray support, the console is not capable of rendering native 4K games. It will give you the same performance as the base version of the console. Currently, these can be had for €280, brand new. As I'm recording this video, you can get a 1TB Xbox One S for €280 by itself, or oddly enough, you can get a bundle you can get one of many bundles with several games to choose from for the same price, €280. Some of them even come with 2 games. You can get bundles with Gears of War 4, Forza, Assassin's Creed, Shadow of War, Halo Wars 2, or strangely enough, for also €280, you can get a 500GB Xbox One S with Rocket League. Why is that so expensive? I don't know. Now, real quick, just pointing back to the lack of exclusive games and the lack of first-party games, 2016 was very dry for them. They only really released 2 or 3 games that could even be called semi-exclusive or first party really. 2017 was in a similar state, and 2018 looks to be no different. As it stands right now, all that's coming in the future for sure is the very divisive Sea of Thieves and Crackdown 3. Granted, when E3 or whatever Gamescom rolls around, I'm sure we'll probably see something for maybe Gears of War 5 or Halo 6, but it's still a very, very valid criticism. When they have less third-party support than some of the competition and are publishing basically no first-party games, that's something to consider as a consumer. Now I'm just going to touch on one last thing real quick before we give the final verdict about the Xbox One, which is also the Xbox One X. A more powerful version of the Xbox One, in fact a significantly more powerful version, which will give games that have been patched by the developer better frame rates, better quality, better resolutions, or a combination of the three. This system is also €500, nearly double the price of what you can pick up a standard Xbox One for. In fact, as a comparison, if you were to pick up a standard Xbox One S and you had the same budget as your Xbox One X, you could pick up an Xbox One S and maybe 4 or 5 full-priced, large-scale AAA games and go from there. While the Xbox One X is a nice improvement for your average consumer, it's generally not going to be worth it and is more of a niche piece of hardware. Especially when you consider that all of that still doesn't bring up the console to PC levels of performance or visuals, or both. So who is Xbox One for, and do I recommend buying it for someone? Well, your average Joe Schmo on the street probably won't know too much about all these crazy obscure niche titles or whatever it is. Chances are they're really only going to be buying it for their stuff like their Grand Theft Auto, their Call of Duty, their Assassin's Creed, their Battlefield, whatever it is, and it's definitely a viable option. However, it wouldn't be the recommended option unless you absolutely have to have your Gears of War, your Forza, and your Halo, and you don't have the chance to play on PC. If you just really want the big AAA games and the Microsoft first-party stuff, then you really have no choice. But if you can take it or leave it when it comes to Halo, Gears, Forza, whatever, then your best option is not to pick up an Xbox One, because while it will give you a lot of the large third-party support, you will be missing out on a lot of the third-party support, especially when it comes to slightly lesser titles or indie, obscure and niche games. The Xbox One does offer a decent amount for most people, but you can get a lot more elsewhere. So let me know in the comment section below if this has been informative for you in any way. If you have any questions or anything regarding about Xbox One or potentially buying an Xbox One or certain facets of it, let me know as well and I can get back to you in the comment section with all that. You can also check out the other versions of this video. I'll have one for Sony and another one for Nintendo as well. And hopefully that will clear up any remaining questions or what you should buy. Anyway, I hope this has been a good informative video for yourself. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.